What's up guys and girls, Archmagus Farriston here, and today I'm going to be doing a review of Elex II. Just a warning, this video does contain some spoilers, so if you don't want that, just turn it off. But for those of you who want an honest review, strap yourselves in and let's get down to it. Okay, so Elex II is the second episode in the Elex story. I think most of you who are playing Elex II played Elex I. Basically it takes place on the planet Magalan and it's being invaded by aliens, which you can see here. I'm fighting them, killing them. So in terms of combat, one of the things that has been improved is definitely melee combat. In Elex I, basically all you could do was ranged because Elex I had shitty melee combat. That's been fixed. I would say melee combat is a lot better in Elex II. Ranged is probably about the same, and a lot of it comes down to finding the unique weapons. Some of them are really cool. You can see I'm using the Cap and Spike right now, and also Blessing of Kalan. So yeah, there's some really cool weapons in the game. But a lot of it comes down to combat, and most of the time it's good fun. I would say sometimes the combat is a bit clunky, but more or less it does combat quite well. In terms of progression, it is a Piranha Bytes game, so what does that mean? It means the beginning is damn hard. So you start out, you are very weak, just about any monster can kill you, and it's not until you start to get stronger, faster, more intelligence, more dexterity and so on that you can really start to equip the cool weapons and take on the tougher opponents. So for those of you who are a bit impatient, you just want to get out there and start smashing things, Elex II probably isn't the right game for you, but for those of you who are used to the Piranha Bytes way of doing things, then you should be fine with it. In terms of polish, I would say this game really seems like it's been rushed. Can give you a good example. Basically, you need the mod. Otherwise, this game just is not fun to play. It takes ages for things to respawn. Missions seem to be broken, and just the overall enjoyment of the game just is not there. I really had to get the mod available on the internet, and it really fixed things up, made things look better, made important core things of the game basically playable. So if you're just playing plain vanilla, prepare to be disappointed. For those of you who played the first Elex game, you know that there are different factions. You've got the clerics, so you can see the clerics base here. I'm just about to go inside. The clerics are no longer in Ignodon. They've been driven out by the Skyans, who are the new enemies, and they are now living in a castle, and they're much weakened from their former state. Now in Elex II, unlike in Elex I, you actually have to become an alb first in order to join the clerics later on. So here I'm just running into the main base of the clerics, and here you can see their god. So the clerics are religious fanatics. They worship technology, and their god is called Kalan. I would say that the clerics are not that much fun to play. They don't get that cool skills or spells like they did in the first game, and I don't know, it just felt like something was missing. So now I'm at the base of the Berserkers, and again this faction has been nerfed as well. So in the first game we had very clear distinctions between the Berserkers, who basically use magic, and the Outlaws, who are sort of like Mad Max technology shotgun using guys who use chemicals like stims. That's sort of gone. These two factions have been melded or merged into one. Basically the story is that the Berserkers have taken over the fort, which used to belong to the outlaws, and now it's sort of like a hippie Mad Max combination. It's weird. I got used to it pretty quick, but in the beginning I was sort of like, what the fuck? Are these guys berserkers or are they outlaws? What is going on here? All that said, you can still use magic. The berserkers have access to probably some of the coolest skills and abilities, basically surrounding fire magic. So they have fireballs and other cool fire spells. So I would probably do another playthrough with the berserkers, and I think the town is actually kind of cool. You do get used to it, even though it's this strange mix of outlaws and berserkers. So the next faction I want to talk about is the Albs. So as you know from Elex I, the Albs were the bad guys, and now in Elex II the Albs are a playable faction. They've been heavily hit by everything that's happened on Magalan in the last few years, and your character Jax is a Alb in fact. So I chose to join the Albs for my playthrough. You can see here the town is quite technological. They get access to some of the coolest weapons and armor, probably the most technologically advanced of all the factions. And here you can see, just going to run up to their boss here, and you can join the Albs relatively early on in the game. I quite enjoyed it, and in fact you need to become an Alb in order to join the clerics later on. You basically come in as a secret agent or double agent, and yeah, that's something interesting. Unlike the first game where you basically join a faction and then that's it, in the second game, Elex II, you need to join a faction in order to join another faction. So the next faction is the Outlaws. So you can see here, it's very Mad Max like. They're no longer in the fort, they're now in the crater, which was left a few years ago when they were hit. So you can see here they basically built up a shanty town in the remains of the crater. And yeah, if you're into shotguns and grenades and basically firearms, then the Outlaws are the right faction for you. The next faction is the Morcons. Now the Morcons live underground and they like to wear armor basically made of spiky bits, and they practice blood magic. I gotta be honest with you, I did not like the Morcons. I don't like their base. I found it very dark and hard to navigate. You're sent on missions, talk to this guy, bring this item to this lady, and I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I couldn't find it half the time. And there's a lot of like stairs and tunnels and stuff. Somehow just this faction didn't do it for me. But if you like to do melee combat and use sort of blood magic spells, then it's the right faction for you. So you can see here, just fighting a troll. They do have trolls again, just like in the first game. And you can see me using some of the Alb magic. So the Albs have really cool magic. I like the Ice Fist, but also the lightning. It's really good fun, sort of. Here you can see the lightning effect. It's really quite effective against groups of soldiers because the lightning will jump. And I'll just finish him off with Kalan's Light here. So we'll just now run into the Morcon's base and I'll show you what it looks like. One of the main parts of the game is building up the bastion and building up what's called the 6th power. So you have the 5 factions, but you and your colleagues are the 6th power. And basically you have your companions. Now almost all of the companions in Elex II are the same ones you had in Elex I. I thought this was a bit weak. I mean, they could have come up with new characters, new stories, and so on, but no, they basically recycled an awful lot from the first game. Some of the companions are cool, some of them are not so cool. Again, like in the first game, you build up your different stats, and a lot of the time you're doing this with Elex drinks. I got up to 101 strength, and a lot of this was due to Elex drinks. Here you can see the different spells. So Berserkers, like I said, a lot of it is fire magic, fire fist and so on. And down here you can see the albs. So I maxed out the albs. You've got Blizzard for AoE, you've got lightning and ice fist and heal. Pretty cool stuff. Morcons, a lot to do with blood and pain and melee combat. Outlaws, you've got your chems, your stims, and clerics, you only have 2 skills. Similar to the first game, you have a jetpack which you can mod and upgrade throughout the game, and here I think they really made some improvements. In the second game, there's just a lot more that you can work on and improve on the jetpack, and I quite enjoyed it. It's pretty good fun to jet around the world. Also, you will collect Elex and other ingredients, and that'll help you to make Elex drinks, which will help you to gain experience, gain attributes, and gain learning points. So for those who played the first game, you'll know all this already. On the topic of romance, there is romance and character relationships in the game. However, it is quite limited. Personally, I'm really not into romance in computer games, but I know some of you out there probably are. So it is in the game and it can be done. Okay, so let's talk about some of the many faults of the game. One of the main things that really upset me with this game is the missions. The missions are quite repetitive, and towards the end of the game you don't get just one, you get multiple missions where you need to go and kill infected mutants or hacked robots, and you spend like an hour looking for the last bloody monster to kill, and it's a huge waste of time. It's very frustrating, and the fact that there's many of these missions just makes it even worse. So not a lot of creativity in the missions. I didn't feel that engaged, and the game itself is long. I spent 64 hours on this game, and I think I spent only about 40 on the first game, so it is a long game, and towards the end I was just getting ready for it to end. I was like, come on, let's finish it. So it is a frustrating game in some respects. If you're into Elex as a brand, you'll probably enjoy it, but if you're coming to Elex for the first time, Elex II is probably not the right place to start. One thing I did like about the game is that it furthers the storyline and the whole progression. So it explains to you where Elex comes from, who is Kalan, the god of the clerics, the history of the Albs, and so on. So I'm not going to give away too many of the spoilers, but it really does further the whole storyline. So that was really cool. In closing, I would say it's a good game. I would give it 7 out of 10. It does have a lot of bugs and problems, but especially for those who played the first Elex game, I think you'll really enjoy Elex II. However, for those who have never played Elex before, this is not the right place to start. Alright everyone, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. See you next time.